Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us in this video that will discuss the UK student visa process for incoming London scholars in the fall of 2025. We are really excited to have you, and we hope that this video is a helpful guide for you to prepare for the CAS and visa process. Now, in this slide, we have a brief explanation of the process. So you will first provide your CAS documentation to NU London, which will then lead you to obtaining a CAS. You will then have to complete the online student visa application form and pay the application and the immigration health surcharge fee. You will then need to attend your biometrics appointment and send your passport and documents for processing. Now, at this point, you may have to surrender your passport for processing. Once a decision on your visa is made, your passport will be sent back to you and you may receive an entry clearance. This is likely to change and you may receive just an e-visa rather than a sticker in your passport. You then will need to arrive in the UK on time and enroll at NU London. Now, the process for EU nationals differs a little bit. So you will be making your application via the UK Immigration ID Check app. You'll scan your passport and your face to complete your biometrics and complete your ID verification. You will then be sent your e-visa via your email and you can prove your UK immigration status online. You will also have to arrive on the UK on time and enroll at NU London. So if you start right from the beginning, we can see that once you paid your deposit to the university, you will need to obtain a confirmation of acceptance for study, which is also often referred to as a CAS. And you'll need this in order to apply for your student visa. In addition to, you'll also be required to show specific documentation to the visa compliance team, which will need to meet the requirements set out by the UK Visas and Immigrations Department, which is also often referred to as the UKVI. Now, you will be providing these documents via our CashShield systems, and you'll be sent your invitation to join CashShield via your Northeastern email address after paying your deposit. When you provide all the required documents to our team, we will check and ensure those documents meet the UKVI requirements. We will then issue a CAS and provide you support throughout the entirety of the student visa process. But please note that you'll not be able to apply for a student visa without getting your CAS first. If you do apply for your visa before obtaining your CAS, your application will be refused, and this will impact your future UK visa applications. Now, as you can see here, this is an example of what a confirmation of acceptance for studies document looks like. So the CAS document is actually a letter you'll receive from us, the university, containing your personal information as well as information about your previous qualifications, as well as details of your course that you're coming to study with us in London. Please note that we will be unable to issue a CAS based on qualifications that have not yet been completed, so please make sure that you provide us with information and documents based on your final and completed studies, such as a high school diploma. Now, the CAS letter actually also contains information about your tuition fees, the amount you've already paid to the university. One CAS can only be used for one student visa application only. Please note that if your application has been refused by whatever reason, please do not use the same CAS number again to make a new visa application, but instead contact the visa compliance team immediately. Here is a further example of what the CAS letter will look like. Now, please note that if you are a British or an Irish valid passport holder, or if you are a dual national with either of these nationalities, you do not require a visa to study in the UK. But you will have to enter the country using your British or Irish passport, but you won't need to apply for a visa. If this situation applies to you, please contact our team as soon as possible to let us know, as you do not need to go through the CAS process or the visa process. However, every other nationality, including EU, still requires a student visa to come and study with us in London. Also, please note that the university doesn't issue the student visa. We will issue you a CAS statement that is required for your visa application. And we will also support you throughout the visa application process. But the UKVI is the issuing body for the student visa, and you will be contacted by them with regular updates or requests of further documentation throughout your application process. So it's very important that you check your emails regularly. You should begin your application and your CAS process as soon as you receive a CAS Shield invitation, and it should apply for a visa as soon as you receive your CAS. Please ensure to check your CAS statement and the information included in that statement, ensuring that all is correct. If you see an error in your CAS statement, please ensure to notify the visa team immediately. Please note that it's important for you to make your visa application as soon as you obtain your CAS, as the process might take anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks, especially this could increase during the busy summer period. Please note that if you have any travel plans for the summer, kindly prioritize your visa application to ensure you receive it on time and start your studies without any delay. And you shouldn't travel to London before you receive your visa, as you will not be able to enroll at the university early. Now in here, we actually have some key dates in this timeline for you. So you should really start preparing your CAS documents from May. Attend our webinars and Q&A sessions. Please read through our visa web pages and begin uploading your documents to your CAS Shield account. The deadline for submitting your documents is actually the 1st of July, except for A-level students, as we are aware that the final qualifications for A-level students are being issued only in the summer. Now, the 1st of August is our CAS issuance deadline. So this will be the last day that the visa compliance team will be issuing CASs, except for A-level students. This is set up so that we can ensure we have enough time to check your documents, issue your CAS, and that you have enough time to apply and obtain your student visa. Now, you will also have an assigned visa compliance officer who will support you throughout your entire visa and CAS process. So you can contact us and your visa compliance officer with any questions or concerns that you have, either via email or the CAS Shield messaging function. And if so, if anything is pending, please note that your visa compliance officer will also contact you either via email or your CAS messaging function. So please ensure you keep an eye on your inbox throughout the CAS and the visa process. We will also be organizing webinars and Q&A sessions that you're welcome to join to get more information on the process. And now we will talk to you about the documentation that you need for your CAS and student visa application. So in here, we can actually see a checklist of what documents we will ask you to submit onto your CAS Shield account. As we will issue your CAS based on these documents and qualifications, we are going to talk about each of these documents in a much more deeper detail. We'll begin with the passport. So you will need to have a passport. The passport has to be valid for the duration of your CAS and visa application, and when you travel to the UK and enroll physically at university. It doesn't need to be valid for the entire duration of your studies, as you can apply for a passport renewal from within the UK once you've enrolled. However, please ensure that your current passport is valid at least until the start of your London Scholars Programme. Please note that you have to apply for your visa from within your home country or country of residence. If you are currently living in a country that you're not a national of, you will need to present a residence permit or permanent visa for that country, proving that you have the right to live and apply for your student visa within that country. Please note that you will not be able to make your visa applications from a country which you're just visiting. This will actually cause your application to get refused. And next, we will have a look at your final qualifications. An example of this can be a diploma or an official transcript. The document must contain all of the information and confirm that you have successfully completed the program. Please note that provisional results are not acceptable for CAS and visa purposes. Once you've received a CAS Shield invitation, please make sure to start submitting your documents as soon as possible. But it might be a case where you have to wait a little bit longer to obtain your CAS due to your final qualifications being released a little bit later in the summer. In this case, please ensure to upload all other pending documents so that your visa compliance officer can check them, ensure that they meet UKVI requirements, and once we obtain your official qualification, we will then be able to issue your CAS. Please ensure that if your school has issued you a physical paper copy of your qualification, it is required that you bring this qualification to your enrollment in London. So please make a note to pack this document with you when you travel. Our team needs to verify and scan your qualifications in person at the time of enrollment, so it's very important that you bring them. If your school has issued you an electronic copy, they would need to send us a verified copy on our email address, so please ensure to ask them to contact us directly with your qualification. Now, another important qualification is your English language. Please take a quick look at the below list, and if you're a national any of the listed countries, you will not be asked to provide your English language qualification. However, if you are a dual national and you're using a different passport issued by another country, for your CAS and visa application and travel to the UK, you'll still need to prove your English language qualification. For example, if you're a Canadian and Spanish national and you decide to use your Spanish passport for your visa application, you will need to hold a valid English language qualification. It is because the UKVI require this and are basing the requirements on your nationality. Please note that if you input your information correctly on CashShield, your visa compliance officer will ask you to provide English language qualifications if you require this. Now, if you are not a national from the majority English speaking country, you will need to provide a valid English language qualification. Here we have listed accepted qualifications, including school qualification and private tests. The results you obtain must be equivalent to a CERF level B2. So please visit our website to see what specific scores you should obtain for each test to meet the requirements. Now, for some students, they are required to take a tuberculosis test as part of their visa application. If you are living in a certain country and making an application to come to the UK, you may be required to present a valid medical certificate confirming that you've been tested for TB and that your results have been negative. Your TB certificate should look exactly like this. So it should have the UK and Visas Immigration stamp over here, and it should show that your results are negative. Please be aware that you will need to provide a TB test from a UKVI approved clinic. You can also visit the Gov website to see if a list of approved clinics for every country and also check if your country is required to provide the medical certificate. You can click on this link here and it will take you to the UKVI approved clinics where you can check if you need one and what clinic is closest to you. Now, another important thing to note is translation of documents. If your qualification or other documents that you are submitting are not in English, you will need to provide us with original copies as well as official English translations. The translations must meet all the listed UKVI requirements here. It has to be an official translator signed and stamped by the translating company and include information and contact details of the translator in order to meet requirements set by the UKVI. Now, let's do a deep dive into financial requirements. So for both CAS and your visa application, you need to show you have enough money to support yourself while you're studying in the UK. It must cover both tuition fees and living expenses. The UKVI calculated yearly living expenses in London equal to £13,347. So you would need to hold in your bank account the living expenses amount and the amount of your tuition fees minus the deposit you've already paid. The full amount must be held in your bank account for at least 28 consecutive days and cannot fall below the required amount or time frame, even just by £1 or 1 pence on the day. So here actually is an example of how you can calculate the total amount you must show. So for London scholars, the program total amount would be 82,000, and this amount you must be holding into your account for at least 20 consecutive days, plus the maintenance fee of 13,347 that we discussed in the previous slide, minus any deposit that you've made. Of course, your bank account doesn't have to be in pounds, but please use Awanda as the currency converter to double check what it would convert to in pounds. As this platform is approved and used by UKVI, and this is what the visa compliance team will use to check your finances before issuing your CAS. Now in here, we can see some key financial documents accepted by the UKVI. So we have personal bank account statements or bank letters confirming that the amount that you have been holding for the consecutive 28 days. You might even present a Sally Mae loan letter or a Northeastern grant or a scholarship letter, but please note that it would only be deducted from your tuition fees and not living expenses. Now, if you're actually presenting a bank statement, please make sure that it contains your personal details or details of your parent or legal guardian, as you cannot use somebody else's account. Account number and type, it cannot be a business account name, address, or logo of the financial institution, and it has to confirm you've been holding the required amount for the past 28 days, but also the document cannot be older than 31 days. You can have the multiple bank accounts, but you'd still have to present statements from the same periods of time, and the combined statements still have to cover the required amount. Now, whereas a bank letter, you would still need to include the same information as the financial institution, account holder, type, and held amount. But please note the bank letter has to confirm the money is available to you without any conditions or restrictions, and that the money can be withdrawn at any given time. Please note that the professional or business statements or loans are not accepted as evidence of money held by your legal guardian. You have to make sure that you read the financial requirements information carefully and contact our team if you have any questions or concerns. Also, business or trust accounts are not accepted for CAS or student visa applications. And now we have to remember, and it's very important to remember the timeframes. So your required amount that we calculated a few slides back needs to be held by you or your legal guardian for at least 28 consecutive days. So the bank statement and letter also have to be valid for 31 days. You have to make your visa application within 1 month from the date the document was issued to you. If you do not make your visa application within the time frame, you need to submit a new valid statement or letter. Make sure it still meets the UKVI requirements, otherwise your application might be refused. If you're using your parents' or legal guardian's financial documents, you also need to submit additional documents. However, if you're using your own bank account, you will not need to submit additional documents. You will need to upload them, and you'll need to ensure that your bank information and your financial documents mentioned and are in your name. However, if a bank account actually belongs to a parent or legal guardian, we will ask you to submit the following in addition: a confirmation letter in which the account holder confirms that they are happy for you to use the funds for your studies and living expenses, as well as visa application. You will also need to submit proof of relationship. This can be a birth certificate, adoption certificate, depending on your circumstance, or an official government issued document confirming the legal guardian's responsibility of a parent. All those documents must contain your full name of the account holder, and if the documents are not originally issued in English, as we spoke a couple of slides back, please remember to include the official translation with the set requirements that we discussed. Those documents are not only required by us for your CAS application, but you will also be required to submit this as part of your visa application. Now, let's go through making your visa application. So, when your designated visa compliance officer is done checking your documents and they meet all the set UKVI requirements, you'll be issued a CAS statement. So the CAS statement and CAS letter will be a document attached to an email sent to your Northeastern EDU account, along with more guides, such as the visa application guides, as well as a biometric guide. And it will be password protected, so please ensure to put in your passport number, as this will be the password to access your CAS statement. Please can you check if all the information in the letter is correct and let us know as soon as you notice anything that would need to be updated. If there are any mistakes in your CAS, please do not apply for your visa before your visa compliance officer confirms it's been correct and updated. You should also inform us if anything changed since we issued your CAS. For instance, if you renewed your passport or made additional payments to the university, the information that is included in your CAS has to be the same information you provide in your visa application. Now, after all this is done, you should be ready to start your online visa application. You can find the link to the online visa application attached in the guide to your CAS statement email, and this will be in your visa application guide. Please take your time going through the visa application form. Ensure that you answer all the questions accurately. And as referenced to in your guide, which will help you answer your visa applications according to your circumstances. Now, if you're unsure on how to find an answer, a question, the guide is unclear, please contact your visa application officer. Feel free to just copy and paste information from your CAS statement to your visa application to make sure that information is matching and also to avoid any spelling errors or mistakes that might be not processed by the UKVI system. So the next step would be to pay the visa application fee and the immigration health surcharge, as we discussed in the very first slides. They're both mandatory fees as part of your visa application, so you must pay them. Now, the health surcharge fee allows you to have access to the National Health Service in England for the duration of your studies. Please note that you would have to pay this fee even if you have your private health insurance set up. The visa application fee is about £524 and the health surcharge is £776, coming up to a total of £1,300, unless you would like to pay for priority service, which is an additional £500. But you should only pay for the priority service if you've discussed the option with your visa compliance officer and if your visa compliance officer feels like this is something that would benefit your situation. Step number 4 is to book your biometrics appointment. So please note that this is applicable only to non-EU students. So if you're an EU national, you will not be asked to have biometrics appointment. Feel free to contact our team if you're unsure about your situation, and we will cover the next steps for EU students in a little bit. So you'll be asked to choose a biometric service provider. So please ensure you read all the biometric guide that will be attached to your CAS statement email before choosing your provider. Depending where you are in the world, you most likely use VFS Global or USCIS, depending on where you're applying from. You can choose from 2 services, Standard, which takes around 3 to 4 weeks, but might increase during busy periods, or Priority, which comes with higher costs but takes about a week. Please make sure to read carefully about each service available in your location and select the option most suitable to you. The estimated times might change depending on the provider, especially during peak summer periods. So please make sure to submit your application as soon as possible to avoid delays. For example, if you're traveling abroad at the beginning of your studies, please consider choosing a priority service, as you will not have access to your passport until a decision has been made on your visa application and your passport has been shipped back to you with your visa. Now, please remember to only submit the documents you're listed on your UKVI document checklist included in your CAS statement email. which we'll mention in the previous slides, but do not submit any additional documents. You submit your visa application and you'll also be emailed a list of documents you should submit. So please pay close attention to them. If you notice any documents that was not listed by us on the UKVI document checklist, kindly contact your assigned visa compliance officer or double check with them. It's important that you don't submit any documents you're not asked to at the time of application, as can be seen here, just because this could cause delays to your visa application. Now, the next step is attending your biometrics appointment. It's important to know that biometric service providers are not involved in making a decision in your visa application, but they can contact you with information about your appointment. So please always read all the instructions carefully and make sure you prepare everything you need for your appointment. Kindly ensure to attend your appointment on time, listen carefully to what will happen to your passport and other documents after the appointment to understand the process. For most students applying in the US, you will need to ship your passport to the processing office with a UPS return label. Others might be asked to hand over their passport for processing during their appointment. So make sure you don't leave the appointment without understanding your next steps and instructions on how to mail your passport within the time period provided. If you fail to follow the instructions, your application might be delayed or refused. So please make sure to ask questions if you're unsure what to do. Now, let's quickly go back to step 4 for EU students. So applying for their CAS and visa using applying for your visa application using the EU passport, you'll be able to check your biometrics using the UKVI app instead of attending a physical appointment. Your CAS statement email will also contain a guide on how to use the UKVI app and what are the requirements to download the app. Now, you'll still have the option to use priority services if you wish to, or if that has been recommended to you by your visa compliance officer. If you cannot use the UKVI app or have any issues with it, please contact our team as soon as possible for information on how to book your in-person biometrics appointment. Once you have received your CAS and submitted your visa application, you will have to update the correct sections of your CAS Shield account. This is important for us to be aware of what stage your application you're on and how we can further assist you to make sure you arrive in London on time to begin your studies. You should receive a visa decision letter, an entry clearance, or an entry clearance email. So please also make sure to submit copies of all these documents to CAS Shield for compliance requirements and review. You can submit these documents to the pre-departure and travel section, as seen in the screen here. But also please upload a copy of your flight information when you book your travel to London, as we will also require your boarding pass or e-ticket as part of documentation during enrollment so that we can track when you will be arriving in the UK. It is crucial to check your emails regularly for further information, instructions, updates, or further requirements from the UKVI. You might be contacted by the UKVI to provide more information for your visa application, but please speak to our visa department and your visa compliance officer before you submit any additional documents. If you receive any emails from the UKVI when you're making your visa application, please forward it to our team as a matter of urgency so that we can assist you appropriately. Please note that your application might be delayed or refused if you provide any incorrect information. If you do not check your emails or miss any important updates for requests for further documentation from the UKVI, your application might also lead to rejection. Do not forget to check your junk folder as well. Now, step number 7 is when you receive a decision on your visa application. First, we are going to talk about non-EU students. So since you were asked to mail your passport after your biometrics appointment, you can track its return journey through the shipping provider. If you handed over your passport during biometrics, you should receive a notification for when it's ready for collection. If your visa is approved, you will receive a decision letter from the Home Office via email, and your passport will have an entry clearance, which will look like a sticker on one page of your passport confirming that you have permission to enter the UK on a student visa from a specific time frame. Please note that the entry clearance is not your visa, it is permission to enter the UK during the time period visible on your sticker. Please note that if you travel to the UK, for example, for a holiday before the time on your entry clearance sticker starts, you will not leave and re-enter the country during the permitted time frame. You will also need to have your flight booked for the time allowed on your entry clearance. It should be valid for 90 days, but also note that it's not the duration of your visa, it's the time period where you can enter the UK. So if you travel to the UK once you get your visa before the start date of your entry clearance, you will have to leave the UK as you will be considered as a visitor in the UK and re-enter at the beginning of your time frame. So that could be the date that your entry clearance starts, such as 1st of August or 31st of July, and you'll have to enter that with your entry clearance sticker to ensure that you're here as a student. The EU students will also get their visa decision via email, so please kindly ensure to check your email and junk folders for any updates. You should receive an entry clearance email confirming the application has been approved and you have permission to enter the UK to study during the given time period. Please ensure that you email us or you upload a copy of your entry clearance email to CashShield or to the visa team. Again, please don't travel to the UK before the permitted date, as you will be asked to leave and re-enter before you complete your enrollment at the university. As of this year, the UKVI will not be issuing physical visas anymore. So you will receive not a physical visa copy, but you will be able to access an e-visa through an electronic UKVI account. So please make sure to visit the government website and create a UKVI account. If one is not created for you once your visa is issued, please make sure to create a UKVI account using the same passport you applied for your CAS and student visa. After creating the UKVI account, it will take around 3 working days for the system to process your information, and you'll be able to log in and view your online immigration status. To prove your immigration status and have access to your physical visa, to your electronic visa, you will need to generate a share code. The share code is required for anybody else to check your status. For instance, university. Once you generate a share code, it's valid for 30 days, and only people that you give the share code to will be able to view your e-visa. Please note that if you have any questions regarding the process, to email us directly at visa@nulondon.ac.uk. Thank you so much for your attention, and please note that you'll also be able to contact your assigned visa compliance officer through our CashShield messaging function on CashShield. Thank you so much for your time.